Welcome back to Weird Stuff in a Can on day 6 of our week of weird beers. Today's weird beer is Coffenade from Evil Twin. So yeah, this is called Coffenade, or Coffenade, and it is an IPA with lemon and coffee added. Now, gotta say, I am sceptical as to whether this is going to be very nice, because I have tried coffee and lemon together before in the past and I've not found that to be a winning combination. Now, whether that changes when we combine it with beer remains to be seen. So let's see what it says on the side. A refreshing drink often associated with childhood nostalgia, to others a pop cultural symbol of female emancipation. Whatever the association, we teamed up with two Swedes, Henok and Kari of Omnipollo, to squeeze out a tasty, tempting and deceivingly well balanced IPA with sweet and sour notes of old-fashioned memories. This time we added coffee and a twist of well-designed ideas by Martin Justison. So this is brewed for Evil Twin Brewing in Dorchester, Boston. Oh, the Dorchester Brewing Company in Boston, Massachusetts. Right, well, I don't know. So this is, let's have a look, this is a 7% IPA. So it's going to have a bit of a kick to it, I imagine. Let's open it up and see what we've got. Okay, had to cut the film there slightly because in my haste to get this open and try it out, it all sprayed everywhere. Not really sure what happened there. I didn't shake the can or anything, but we seem to have lost a fair bit of it, and I had to stop and wipe the table up. Anyway, let's have a taste of this. Let's have a smell. Okay, I can smell the lemon, and I can smell the hops and the malt. So let's have a little taste. No. No, actually I'm going to say no. The trepidation that I had about tasting coffee and lemon together is reinforced by this. Many years ago, I wondered to myself why it is I never see people put a slice of lemon in their coffee like they do in tea. And so my curiosity drove me to try that. So I made myself a nice cup of coffee and I put a slice of lemon in it and tasted it, and it was horrible. There's something about, well, you know that thing that people say that where something is more than the sum of its parts. Well, coffee and lemon to me was like the opposite of that. So it was, putting those two things together brings out almost the worst characteristics of those two things. So putting coffee and lemon together for me, when I tasted it as a cup of coffee with a slice of lemon in it, it was acrid, it was chemical tasting, but also wrongly unpleasant. It just tasted foul and acrid. And I'm sad to say that I think the same thing's going on here, really, that actually the lemon and the coffee, they just don't combine well as flavours. And I don't know whether the hops are also part of the mix here as well, because this is an IPA, so it's quite a highly hopped ale. There's just something not right about that. I can't say that there's really any way I could enjoy that. So it's definitely weird, and it's kind of quite predictably weird, because I kind of knew that coffee and lemon didn't go together, and I think I was right. Okay, I feel really bad because not only was that a bit of a disastrous episode, we lost a bit of the footage there and we had a spillage and the beer didn't pour properly and so on, but actually when we did pour it, the taste was very disappointing, and actually that was not a pleasant drink. So let's see if we can redeem this episode by turning it into a 2-can special. So our second can of beer for this episode of Weird Stuff in a Can, Weird Beers, is Earl Grey Pale Ale. So I bought this in Marks & Spencer's. It is a 5% volume pale ale from Adnams Brewery in Suffolk, brewed with surplus M&S bread. Okay, oh, this is used our loaf. So this is a brewery that makes beer out of bread that would otherwise go to waste. So they're collecting up bread from supermarkets and using that as the feedstock for the fermentation process. Really interesting. So ingredients: water, malted barley, malted bread, wheat flour, calcium carbonate, malted wheat flakes, This is a very wheaty ale. So that sounds interesting, doesn't it? So, and not only that, but it's flavoured with Earl Grey tea. So, Earl Grey tea, I'm quite fond of Earl Grey tea. I'm also quite fond of pale ale. So this ought to be a success, didn't it? Let's pour it out. Okay, so that pours out as a beautifully crystal clear pale golden ale with a nice light frothy head on there that looks quite persistent. We can see also there's a fair old bit of fizz in there. There's some nice bubbles rising. This is nicely chilled down, and hopefully this will be refreshing on a hot day like today. To the nose, I can't actually detect the Earl Grey aroma, so I guess the next thing to do is dive in and have a taste. So okay, that's got quite a kick of refreshing bitterness to it on the first taste. Yeah, the Earl Grey flavour is actually quite subtle. So really, this is just quite a hoppy, bitter, pale ale. And you know what? There's something of the bread has come through in this brew. There's something of the toasted, baked nature of the bread has made it through into the ale. So actually that's really pleasant. It's, I think, perhaps a little bit bitter for my palate. I think I prefer a sweeter, perhaps amber ale to be perfectly honest. But this is quite a refreshing drink, and it's a very light and crystal clear and crisp pale ale. So hopefully that has redeemed us from the disastrous tasting of Coffenade. So Earl Grey Pale Ale, pretty good I'd say. Not perhaps quite to my taste, but good nonetheless. You might like this. So that's day 6 on our week of weird beers, on Weird Stuff in a Can here on Atomic Shrimp. 2 can special. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.